Well, hello there, Retro PC Durham. Chris here with another video. We have another PC parts pickup, so another unboxing video. Let's get right into it. Okay, so first off, I'd like to thank Richard, way out in Cobourg, Ontario, who generously donated these two packages. It was a bit of a drive for me to come out there, but figured I would do it. So he had some older Macs that he had upgraded, or MacBooks that he had upgraded over time, and he donated first this pair of 2 gig DDR3 memory, pair of 2, so 4 gig total. And then he also donated this pair of 2 gig, again, DDR3 memory. So this is perfect. These kits, right, so 4 gig total each, are perfect for whenever I get a laptop that is DDR3 capable, and I'm going to be able to get running Windows 10 for a donation. 4 gig is exactly the amount of memory that I want to have available. And I actually didn't have very much memory in this range, DDR3 and DDR2 memory, because I had used it almost all up on other donations. So nice to replenish and have that actual pair. All right, the rest of this stuff is all from a generous donation from Ben in Curtis, Ontario, who's donated stuff a bunch of times to me, actually, and it's really helpful. He's given me quite a few items that I've been able to use to build up machines. So let's take a look at the package of stuff that he had available for me this time. So we've got our first box here. We've got, it looks like, a box with a Wi-Fi adapter in it. Yes, this is a Wi-Fi adapter, a D-Link wireless range booster desktop adapter, and this is a PCI, not PCIe, a PCI form factor, so for an older based machine. This could be useful for a retro build. I'm not sure that this would be great for a Windows 10 based machine, because what I've often found with these older Wi-Fi adapters oftentimes have some encryption support issues. Now it may show here, well actually maybe not, unless this is a different box. This does say that it supports WPA2, AES, and TKIP, but AES I think it's the one that's used today. So okay, well if that's the case, this should work fine. So for a newer machine, sorry, not a newer machine, for a Windows 10 based machine going, loading onto an older computer that still has a PCI slot, I could install one of these, and that would be very helpful, especially with, if I'm going to donate a system to the Children's Aid Foundation, which is usually where I donate any of my laptops that I can prep up. The desktops are less popular because it's harder to find a place for a kid who's in a foster home or something to set a computer up, and especially for them to be able to set up a wired connection for internet. So having a Wi-Fi adapter is actually kind of important for him. Okay, let's take a look at this big box of memory. So I'm going to go kind of rapid fire through here. So we got a 512 DIMM. We've got, gee, what the heck is this? What is this? I don't even know what this is. There's a notch in the top as well as a notch in the bottom, and this chip. I'm not sure this is an actual memory DIMM. I think this might be, some kind of DIMM form factor for a chip, a riser chip or control chip or SoC or something. That's really odd. We're going to have to take another closer look at that. If you automatically recognize what that is, don't be shy to comment below as to what that is. Okay, we've got another DIMM here. This appears to be DDR2 or DDR. No markings as to what size it is, though. Interesting. So, I mean, if we're lucky and that's like a 1 gig or a 2 gig DIMM, that would be super awesome. 512. 128. These are this is a DDR2, this is a DDR. Another 512 DDR2. SODIMM here, 1 gig DDR3. We've got a 512 again, Looks like this is almost all 512. So I've got a blank one here. This is DDR. Nothing on it at all. 1 gig PC2. We've got something used to have a something used to have a fin on it to keep it cool. Maybe that's, oh, I wonder if that's where this, yeah, that's where this came from. Because I'm just noticing these two, they look almost exactly the same. Okay, so that means that this is a DDR2 512. So I'm not sure again why that chip thing needs to be on there, but it is, and that would explain what all this extra stuff is in between everything. It's all the pieces to connect this all up. So how does this all go together? I take this piece here and it clips on to up this side and up this side, and then on this side I need to put this on here as well, and those will, that will snap together there, and then I will take my memory and this will clip on this side, and then this one will clip on this side. We'll put that back together. Okay, we now have a pair of DIMMs here. Yikes! Pair of our DDR2 modules back to back. Okay, cool. All right, back to the count here. Another 1 gig. We got some more SODIMMs here. 1 gig DDR3. 1 gig DDR3, 1 gig DDR3, oh, hard drive holder for a ThinkPad. And 512. And then we've got some more of these hard drive cushions here for when you put them on either side of a 2.5-inch floppy drive when you're installing them in a laptop. A manual for something, for DIMMs. These little clips, I'm not sure what they're for, but they look like they've got a Uline logo, so they're maybe for some kind of organization. A whole bunch of little screws. These look like laptop hard drive screws for mounting hard drives. Sometimes you can make those work in a tower case as well. But yeah, that's that. So we'll throw that little box and see what's here next. We have a CDR with some SQL server patches. And then we have this. Interesting. We have an HP, what looks like some kind of either thin client or like early generation kind of micro PC. HP T620 with Windows embedded. So this is I guess this is that would be a thin client, right? I take these two doors off and we just take a quick look at this. It doesn't look like I can get Doesn't look like I can get any farther down into the system here. The chip is, I think this is kind of maybe a passive cooling system, and it's using the whole frame here, the aluminum here, to cool off. But got an interesting little system board. It's got power cable included, right? So DC power in. Looks like we've got we've got audio inputs. Put this clip back on here, I guess. Yeah, audio inputs, one in, one out, a standard VGA, as well as 2 DisplayPort outputs, keyboard and mouse, Ethernet, 2 USB ports. On the front, we have a power button. We have additional connector clips here, 2 USB 2, 2 USB 3 ports. And then on the inside here, it looks like I see this looks like XPCI XP11. So that's a mini PCI slot maybe for a Wi-Fi adapter. And then there's an M.2 slot here, as well as 2 DIMM slots. So this must be like a mini PC. I've also got 2 internal USB ports on this as well. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. If I can be able to build out a machine based on just this, with kind of spare parts, I think I've definitely got the memory for it. If it takes DDR3, right? Can take a look, see here if it's yeah. So it takes DDR3 memory. So if we could put 4 gig of DDR3 in here, and then would we have a Wi-Fi adapter? Do I have any Wi-Fi adapters around here? Let's take a look and see. Oh, I've got the right connector, but I don't have the right length. I don't think I have any other Wi-Fi. Oh wait, hold on. Some of these are way, might be older, right? Obviously they're not going to be an AX adapter, but if it's something that'll work, so something like that, right? You could connect. This is an Atheros adapter. The only thing that's, I don't know, on like a case like this, there's no antennas. So if you do install a Wi-Fi adapter like this, your range is going to be absolutely terrible. And it doesn't appear that there's any antenna connections throughout this system. So that's something to consider, if you'd be able to do that. And then I would need I think I might actually have some M.2 storage drives available. Let's check the little folder here. Where is that little tiny, this tiny envelope here? I actually have, I've actually got a 180 gig, right, that we could use. And then I've got this 128 gig little guy that we could use as well. So that's another possibility of being able to put something like that in. And you might be able to get a kind of a working mini PC thing going. So that's something to play with. Something to play with for sure. Let me make sure I've got this aimed the right way here when we try to clip this stuff back on. This might be for this side. To figure out how this all clips on and stuff too. I don't know if it's just all snaps into place or if there's screws that are missing somewhere. So that'll all be something that's got to get worked out as well. All right, we'll move that aside. Power adapter. This gets moved away, and then we've got one more big box here. Oh, look out, memory DIMMs. Look out, memory DIMMs coming through. coming through. What is this? Oh. Ooh, hard disk drives. Okay, let's take a look. We got a WD. We got a blue 160 gig. That is SATA. We've got an IDE Seagate with this nice giant label on here. That's interesting. So this is, what is the size on this? 16,000 cylinders. I don't see a capacity on this, so I'd need to look up this ST3100 14 ACE and see what the actual capacity of this thing. I'm assuming it's not going to be very large. This looks like, with the tape and everything on here, I don't know, kind of old maybe. Kind of old. So we'll take a look at that. So an IDE drive would be for an older system, obviously. We have another IDE drive here. It's home. This is the home hard drive. This is a Fujitsu MPF 3102AT hard drive. We'll have to check the capacity on this one as well. It's not listed and labeled on here. We have a Hitachi SATA. This is a Death Star from 2008 with a 250 gigabyte capacity. Another Seagate. We have a 250 gigabyte capacity on this one. Another Seagate Barracuda SATA drive, 250 gig. Those are a good size for doing the cheap PC rebuilds. Here's another one of those IDE drives with this OEM sticker on them. So there's two, and then this one is a slightly smaller sticker because by the time they got to SATA, they don't need the big stickers anymore, I guess. Here's a 1 terabyte drive. Oh, it does have an X on it, so I wonder if that's damaged. We'll have to check this drive out, but 1 terabyte, look at that, that's awesome. 1 terabyte drives that's totally relevant. All right, looks like this might have been pulled out of a Dell. I think those are the Dell pull tabs there, I'm pretty sure. So this is an IDE hard drive, 61.4 gigabyte IBM Death Star. Interesting. Okay, so that's a Fujitsu. We got another IDE Seagate drive here. So we're up to 3 of those. We have a Hitachi 1.8 or IDE 80 gig. 80 gig, that's pretty good for an IDE drive. We have a SATA drive back again here, an HP branded drive, and this is a 600 gig. Oh, this is a SAS hard drive. Okay, so this would be for server or high-end workstation. 600 gig SAS hard drive. We have another SATA drive, this Hitachi Desk Star. So this is Hitachi Data Systems, formerly IBM, and this would be a 320 gig hard drive. And then one more Hitachi Desk Star we have here is a 380 gig, so a smaller SATA hard drive. So pretty good stock. Oh, and look at this. We got hidden in the corner here a couple 2.5 inch. These are all IDE laptop drives. We've got a Toshiba 120 gig. I think that's 120 gig. No, maybe I'm wrong. I'm reading the 120 here. Oh, no, it's not. 40 gig, 40 gig. I thought 120 seemed a little big for these little drives. 20 gig, a little tiny 20 gig Hitachi Travel Star. And a 40 gig. So 3 40 gig hard drives, which is a pretty common size for, these older drives. Anything older with these smaller drives, it really is weird, or they had non-standard form factors for drive storage and laptops as you started to get to the smaller and older ones. And then lastly, I'm pretty sure I know what this is. This looks like a 2-bay NAS. I used to have a DNS 323 for a number of years before I finally got myself a workstation and set it up as a home NAS among some other things. But yeah, we have here a DNS 321. I do not have the DC power supply for this one, so that would be kind of a missing piece, but we can take a look That's how that works. You just slide off the front panel, and then the eject buttons are these two things here. You kind of push them and it will eject your drives. So we've got 2 SATA drives in here. And they should be matching pairs. This is a Western Digital, green, and the capacity on this drive appears to be, where is the capacity? 500 gig. It's a 500 gig drive. And I'm assuming this is also a 500 gig drive because you would probably be running them in a RAID 1 array. And this is as well. This is a Seagate Barracuda at 500 gigs as well. So another 2 500 gig SATA drives, assuming that they are still in operational order and good enough condition to use. Those will be great in rebuild machines. As far as this DNS 321, if I had the power adapter for it, that would probably be useful somewhere for someone needing some very low-end network-based storage. The processor and memory on these things are very, very, very small. So for modern NAS applications, we're expecting to say, I want this box to not only hold a whole bunch of shared files, but I also need it to be a Plex server. Maybe I want to run Pi-hole on it as well, or a whole bunch of other stuff. These things just can't handle it. They do not have the processing and memory capacity to be able to do anything other than just basic file shares. And usually the speed on these ones, even though you've got that 1 gig LAN connection, the processor inside here is usually not able to handle a lot of performance requirements. At least in my DNS 323, which was one tiny step up from this one, that was certainly the case, that I was no longer getting the performance I wanted to be able to stream 1080p videos around the house, as well as being able to transfer larger files like ISOs from one system to another, or burn them directly from, or run them directly from the DNS. It just wasn't working out very well. So yeah, these things have their place, and then they're no longer viable and relevant. Yeah, so that's it. That's the whole pull there. A whole stack of RAM, a mini PC that we might be able to get up and running to do some pretty cool stuff, and a whole bunch of hard drives. So pretty good, I would say, in terms of a PC parts pickup. I hope you enjoyed watching the video here and are staying safe and healthy, and we will catch you in the next one.